What is up everyone, and welcome back to some more Formula 1 2020 Championship mode. In the last one we got our second victory in a row in Austria in what can only be described as the most highlight-free race of my career. I got pole, I maintained the lead for the whole race. I literally was never behind anyone at any point during the race. And so I don't really know what I can take away from that. Other than that, I will be upping the difficulty. I need to remember to do that. Also, I'm losing my voice a little bit because this is the fourth of the 4 recordings I'm doing today. So keep that in mind. So we now, excuse me, we're now finally at Master difficulty. It feels good. I am now a Formula 1 Master according to this game. It depends if I can compete, of course. If I do terribly around here, then we'll be going straight back down to 89, just in time for Hungary, which, I mean, that's a track I don't typically do too well at, but we'll worry about that in the next one. For the time being, we're in Britain. It is my own personal home race, but not Sergio Perez's. We touched on this in the previous video, but I'm still looking to get a good result here. It's typically pretty good for cars that have a lot of power behind them, which obviously we know the Racing Point has the Mercedes engine and chassis, so it should have a decent amount of power behind it, you would hope. Let us check the weather. It's dry. All weekend long it is dry, so we are going with my brand spanking new Britain dry setup that I literally made 2 minutes before this video. Yeah, I realised I didn't have one because I haven't got that far in my career mode yet. So we've actually overtaken my own personal career mode at this point. But maybe I can catch back up. I doubt it though if I'm batch recording these. Anyway, to the track. So I typically go okay around Britain. It's not my strongest track, and there's every chance I won't qualify on pole here, so I won't get 2 poles in a row. But you know, there's definitely still opportunity for a good result in the race itself. It's Lewis Hamilton's home race. We can't forget that. So he'll be wanting to do well here, and he typically does. I think he's one of the most successful drivers at the British Grand Prix ever, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, he's going to be a tough nut to crack, and especially if I take a corner that poorly. I can't remember which one that is, and I've cut the bloody corner. That didn't feel like that actually saved me time, so it's kind of a shame that I've been disqualified for that. But let's keep going and see what happens. Looks like I'm going to be starting last again, and this is really just not what I needed for my championship hopes. You know, I really wanted to run well here so I could continue to close down the gap at the top and take the fight to Hamilton and Verstappen. So that was a 1:28.044. So I need to see now where that would have been.
And with qualifying complete, let's review our top 3 today. Hamilton, Verstappen and Valtteri Bottas. Well, that wraps up qualifying, but don't worry, we'll be back tomorrow as we head into the Grand Prix.
So it would have been 4th. I would have been starting 4th, despite the mistakes. And now I'm starting in, as Antonio Giovinazzi would call it, P-last. So yeah, it looks like it's going to be another Canada type scenario after 2 wins on the bounce. The good news is I'm feeling pretty warmed up because this is the fourth race of the batch, whereas Canada was the first race of the batch recording. So hopefully that should owe itself to a good performance, given that I am, like I said, fairly warmed up.
If you can't tell by the roar of the crowds, it's race day. And I think it's gearing up to be a really special one.
And that's it. That's all he's got to say.
6-mile-long Silverstone circuit is one of the longest of the season, with 18 corners in the current layout. With average lap speeds reaching around 145 miles per hour, it's also one of the quickest tracks of the year. Watch out for cars taking the right-handers of Abbey and Copse flat out. And with me as usual is Anthony Davidson. Can we begin by having a chat about Sergio Perez? What do you make of their performance so far this season?
It's been a really solid year so far. There have been some incredible standout performances, but what's really impressed me has been the consistency. With this
Shut up.
making another great race today.
Shut up.
After a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks for today's race. An immense lap from Lewis Hamilton yesterday puts him on pole position, and Max Verstappen lines up alongside. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Bottas, Ricciardo, Alexander Albon, and Sainz, Norris, Vettel, Gasly, and Charles Leclerc, Stroll, Ocon, Daniel Kvyat, and Giovinazzi, Magnussen, Raikkonen, George Russell, and Nicholas Latifi, Grosjean, and Sergio Perez completes our grid. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track.
I can't believe Anthony Davidson just owned me like that. Literally, like, the consistency. I haven't had a single podium finish that wasn't a win. I either win or bin. That is my philosophy, it seems to be. I either get pole or get like P2 and capitalize on that for the win, or I just, you know, completely don't do anything in the whole race. The only exception was what? Canada? Alright, this is fairly straightforward. 5 laps on the medium tyre. I know what it is. I need to just get a good race, get a good start rather, and then have a good race. Goodbye, Nicholas Latifi. Goodbye, George Russell. Goodbye, Kimi Raikkonen as well. Goodness me. That was very nearly terrible. I hit Giovinazzi, doesn't surprise me. I also hit Daniel Kvyat, so I'm going to be boxing most likely.
Mind that front wing. It'll need replacing if it takes too much damage.
Yeah, it looks like it might already need replacing, honestly.
A new strategy is available on the MFD.
Okay, well, yeah, that's what I was going to suggest, actually. Is I was going to say do a one stop and just go straight onto the mediums, and then try and just catch up as best I can. And this might not be the end of all things as we know them. Because in clear air, if I can lap faster than these guys, then, you know, I have a really, really solid chance, actually, of still getting, like, you know, a solid points finish. And the fact that it's happened, the contact has happened so early as well, means that, you know, I stand in probably really good stead of exactly what I described happening. Switch over to lean while we're in the pit lane. So yeah, hopefully, I can just do what I can to catch up. Obviously, I started close to the back. We know this, but when I'm running in clear air, I don't have to compromise my time to make the catch up phase with the rest of the cars on the grid. It took me a while to realise what I was trying to say there. But yeah, effectively, what that means is I'm now going to be in clear air until lap 8 when everyone else makes their pit stops. So I need to just basically bang in the fastest 6 laps I have ever driven around Silverstone. And there's kind of nothing else I can do apart from that. And if I do that, then there is a really good chance to get points. Everyone else is going to be coming onto the mediums at the end of the race anyway, so I'm not going to have a pace disadvantage over the remainder of the drivers. So really, like I said, all I need to do is just bang in the fastest laps of my Silverstone history. And if I can do that, then, you know, I could even get on the podium, possibly. It's unlikely, because there were 3 drivers who were undoubtedly faster than me in qualifying. But like I said, you tend to have a bit more of a pace advantage in the actual race. So this could be a good one. But yeah, I just need to just go fast, effectively. And just hope that everyone holds each other up. Because the one thing I didn't account for when it comes to the pit stop is that I had a missing front wing. So effectively, it was like pitting from last place. So I still have work to do to even get back into not last place. But I have a good feeling. I just need to just bang in some consistently fast laps. I didn't realise I've been running rich fuel mix this whole time. Let's just drop that back down into standard real quick. And I'm already making up like precious seconds on the back markers. Obviously that doesn't really mean much in the grand scheme of things. But if I can make up like 2 seconds a lap on them, then I should be able to make up time that counts on the front runners. At least that's the hope. Effectively, I just want to take as many cars as I can through the pit stop phase. That's what is my dream, my goal, my aim. And yeah, after that, we'll just see how many overtakes I can make after the pit stop. You know, some people might think I deliberately sabotage my qualifying to make the videos a bit more interesting after the last 2. I swear I didn't. It is all completely accidental when I do that kind of thing. I just you know, I'm still not amazingly good at taking corners in this game, so you'll have to forgive me if it looks like I'm attempting to script these videos. I swear I come into them all 100% unscripted. Let me just throw out my script here real quick. So yeah, still a significant gap between myself and Nicholas Latifi. But yeah, their tyres will start to slowly go off. My tyres won't. My tyres will maintain the pace they have for the whole race. This is 100% guaranteed. And I will finish the race on these tyres, and it's probably likely, because they will have a slight pace advantage on being on fresh tyres, that wherever I come out, or yeah, wherever I end up rather, after the pit stops, will be my finishing position, I think, is probably what's likely to happen here. These laps just aren't, they're not quite as fast as I was hoping they would be, is the only problem. Like, I really just need to take them as quickly as I possibly can. I've made up 4 seconds on Nicholas Latifi since my pit stop, or George Russell now, I guess. Which means I'm probably not making up that much time to the front runners. But hopefully there is at least some time being made up. I don't know how long the average pit stop is around here. Let's see, I was like maybe 2 or 3 seconds ahead of Russell, and I came out, what, 31 seconds behind, and that's with an extra like 5 seconds tacked onto my pit stop. So it's probably about 28 seconds, I reckon, that the pit window costs you here. So at the moment I'd only be coming out ahead of Magnussen, which isn't really what I wanted to hear. But maybe this is what master difficulty feels like. Like I said, maybe I might be going straight back down for the race in Hungary. But you know, hopefully that is not the case. Hopefully I can at least sneak my way inside the points, even if it's just P9 or 10. That would be much better than getting no points at all.
Fuel is looking really good. You're managing it well.
Yeah, the only problem with the fuel is that I'm having to push really hard on the fuel at the moment to make these laps count for as much as I can. I really am just trying to drive as fast as possible. Maybe there's someone holding these guys up. Maybe that's why... no, not why, but maybe there's just going to be like a big long train of cars in front of them that I can fall back into. Because if I'm only as fast as the back markers, then fuck me. Like, this is not going to be a pleasant experience for anyone watching. You know, this is very tense for me at the moment, because ultimately I just need to do what I can to close down this gap as much as I can. The gap to Russell is now only 25 seconds. After he pits, I should be comfortably in front of him. And I guess we'll just see what happens with the remainder of the pit stop runners. So yeah, I've been thinking about what I could potentially do after this season is finished, and I think I might try an F2 playthrough, just with 25% distance races again, which means that those will only be like less than 10 laps in the majority of cases. But I will do 2 races per video. I'll do both the sprint and the feature in the same video. So yeah, the first comment that I see suggesting what driver to drive as during my my F2 playthrough will be who I pick. Personally, I want to play as Tsunoda, but like I said, if someone suggests another driver, I will play as them. But if you choose to pick Mazepin, just be aware that it may not be the most thrilling content you've ever watched, because I will play like Mazepin on purpose. I will play really dirty when it comes to defensive driving, and probably, you know, smack myself with a bunch of penalties and DNFs, because I believe in realism. And yeah, if you choose Yuki Tsunoda, maybe I will drive faster than one might expect. And going into that playthrough, I will be playing on the difficulty that I leave this playthrough on, so just keep that in mind as well. So let's say I finish this playthrough on 92 difficulty or whatever. I'm currently on 90, in case you have forgotten. So yeah, I will be starting that F2 playthrough on 92 difficulty, and then going up from there. Even if I win in Abu Dhabi, I still won't change from the final race. So cars coming into the pit starting on this lap. Let's see who we get ahead of. It's a sad state of affairs when I'm being told that Latifi is pitted. So let's see where we come out after the first pit stops. Looks like I'm going to be slightly behind Kvyat, who I was slightly behind before the pit stop phase as well. So, yeah, I really haven't gained as much ground as I ideally would like to, but maybe Kvyat has been having a really good race or something. Who can say? But I don't get the DRS on him this time around, but he does get the DRS on Esteban Ocon, even though Esteban Ocon is more than a second ahead of him at this point. But yeah, I'm quite comfortably ahead of the back markers of Giovinazzi, Grosjean and Latifi. And then Russell, Raikkonen and Magnussen will be coming in on this lap. I'm going to try not to hit Kvyat again here, like I did in lap 1. In fact, I deliberately sort of backed out of the throttle there a little bit, and it's compromised me massively on the run into this straight here. I think I probably could have got him by the end of the corner if not for having to compromise my run. But that's what happens when you follow in the dirty air of these cars. It becomes quite difficult to make moves happen. I'm going to go for one to the inside here though. Yeah, I gave him the room, couldn't make the move. That's on him, in my opinion. So yeah, the only cars I ended up getting through that stop on lap 1 strategy were the back markers, basically, which is what you'd expect. So I need to close down Sebastian Vettel, Leclerc, and Pierre Gasly, and my aim here now will be P9. And I have 4 laps to overtake 4 cars, basically. Whether it will happen is unknown, because the Ferraris seem to be lapping at a similar pace to me, and I don't seem to be lapping that much faster than Esteban Ocon, so I really just need to drive it like I stole it. Hustle it through all these corners, not screw up. That's a corner cut there, but that's fine. It wasn't a tactical corner cut. I think one more now and I'm getting a penalty, because I did have a track extension right at the beginning, even though it didn't save me any time. But that was probably more to do with whatchamacallit. That's probably more to do with the fact that I had very low downforce due to having broken my front wing. They said Lance Stroll would come in for a stop, so I don't know where he's going to come out. I'm actually going to be right on the back of him, I think. I'm not waiting around for him, unfortunately. Alright, nice. So there's a legitimate shot of P8 now. Although I'm not closing up Ocon as quickly as I would like. Although I do have DRS here and he doesn't, so this is good. Even if I get 1 point, I'll still be staying in the master difficulty range. So, you know, we want to see this. I don't want to be told I'm not good enough for master difficulty, and I don't feel like I am. I feel like I just got unlucky in this race. How many races haven't I lost my front wing in? That's the real question. I think it's just the ones I've won, right? Oh, and Spain. I don't think I lost it in Spain either. I know I got the penalty in Spain, but that's not a front wing loss, so it doesn't count. Alright, I'm very close to the back of Ocon now, and I am closing up to Vettel as well. So I definitely think I can make the move done on Ocon. Whether I can get Vettel in time, I'm not sure. Because the gap between me and Ocon was bigger than this, and it's taken me as much time as there is left in the race to close him down. All I can hope is that Pierre Gasly is holding up those boys in the Ferraris nicely. To the outside, get the inside corner here. Okay, I made it work. Let's go. There's the skill that you were all waiting to see. One more position.
Of fuel remaining.
But yeah, I just don't think this gap is coming down quickly enough, unfortunately, so I think it could be a P11 today. I need to close up over a second on him each lap here, which doesn't feel too realistic, unfortunately. But we'll see what I can do. It does look like he's struggling a lot behind behind the Alpha Tauri and behind his teammate. And you know, perhaps if some dueling goes on there, they'll hold each other up, and then Sergio Perez can come into play. I'd love to do a last lap, like just absolute obliteration of them, where I get all three of them. That would be amazing. That would definitely top my move on Latifi and Kvyat in Canada. I think that's been my overtake of the season so far. And unless I do something quite spectacular, I think it will remain that. Looks like Stroll is closing down Ocon, so hopefully he can get past him before the end of the race. I'm just not closing this gap quite quickly enough, unfortunately, I don't think. Looks like Stroll is ahead of Esteban Ocon now. It's going to be so tantalizingly close, but I just don't think I'm quite getting it. Unless I can get within DRS range, like now, basically. I need to have DRS through this DRS zone here, and I don't think I'm getting it, unfortunately. Yeah, not quite. 1.3. If I can close down for the next DRS zone, there is a possibility, but it's only a slight possibility. I really want this point, man. I know it's just a virtual video game, but I'm hungry for it now. I've smelled it, and I've seen that there is a possibility for it. 0.6 second gap. I'm within striking distance. If I can get that DRS and that slipstream, I need a good run through these corners here. And then I just need to bang it through the DRS zone.
Less than a lap of fuel now. The tank is empty.
Gap's not closing that much, unfortunately. Looks like Vettel might go for Leclerc, so they might hold each other up here, actually. Oh my god, come on. Come on, come on, come on. To the inside. Oh, contact. To the inside here. Drag race to the line. And not quite. Oh, man. I really thought that dive bomb might get both of them. Still driver of the day, despite all the hiccups. I really thought I could have done that.
Well, they've done a brilliant job, I must say, under some intense pressure to take a well-earned victory here at the British Grand Prix. Anthony Davidson, a resounding victory today. What set them apart from the rest?
Well, this was a real team victory. They put together a solid strategy today that appeared well suited to the conditions out on track. The driver did everything that was expected of them in the moment to really execute the team's plan to perfection. A shining example of how F1 really is a team sport.
So after a magnificent race, we can now see the drivers making their way to the podium. Once again, it's the Silver Arrows who take top spot. A well-earned victory for Mercedes.
That is a frustration. That is a frustration. All three of the people I'm battling on the podium, and I am nowhere to be seen. Not even close. So yeah, that is going to be a difficult one to mount a challenge, as we're now over halfway through the season. I'm going to need to really pull things out of the bag in the last 10 races if I want to mount that championship challenge.
So let's review the driver's standings. It wasn't the best weekend for our championship leader, and their advantage at the top has been reduced. Some amazing talents out on the track today, but Anthony, who would you pick as your driver of the day?
It's got to be Lewis Hamilton. I mean, he pulled off some impressive feats out on the track today, even by his standards.
It's time to see how things are shaping up in the Constructors' Championship. Mercedes continue to extend their lead. And with that, we wrap up another weekend of motorsport. But with more races lined up, be sure to join us when we come back with more Formula One.
What could have been? What could have been? Imagine if I'd got those two Ferraris in the final corner. That would have been something special for sure. I was so close, but I just couldn't quite make it work, unfortunately. And that is going to be all for this video. Next up, we've got Hungary before the summer break. And yeah, I don't typically drive too well around there, so expect to potentially see the difficulty drop even further. I always overheat my tyres in Hungary. That's my biggest fault around there, I would say, is that I really struggle to keep the tyres within an operating window. But enough about me and tyre temperatures. If you enjoyed, make sure you like and subscribe, and hopefully I will see you in the next one.